It's nice to have a full house. Welcome to everybody to the Tuesday, September 16th, 2025 Haldane Board of Education workshop meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic and one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
President Clements?
Here.
Vice President Valentine? Here. Trustee McNall?
Here.
Trustee Cupper? Here. Trustee Clemenson?
Here.
I don't believe we have any changes to the agenda, so may we have the recommended action to approve it, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the agenda as written.
May we have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the Haldane Board of Education's next meeting will be a business meeting on Tuesday, October 7th at 7 o'clock here in the middle school, high school library. And I just have a couple of very brief comments. We have a full meeting with a great agenda. I had the opportunity and the fortune to attend two events with Dr. Duffy last week. One was the second regionalization meeting that Chester BOCES had, right, which is the state's request that BOCES think about collaborating with their component school districts to think about how to share services. It just reminded me, Dr. Duffy's going to talk about this in more detail tonight, but it reminded me once again how fortunate we are to have PNW BOCES as our BOCES meal. Was so many things were discussed, so much engagement from the other superintendents. I mean, really just so much expertise. And I was again, realizing how fortunate we are to be working with them. And then also the curriculum, the middle school, high school curriculum night, I got to go to, which was really a lot of fun. It was nice to see people. And that's really all I have to say.
You were a great tour guide.
Oh, that's right.
So we had some family for the middle school trying to find, I believe it was the band room.
With the band room. Yes. Yes. Well, we had a handful of new families. And I'll admit though, I know one way to get to the band room from the front hall, and I think there's more than one, but my way works. So that was enough. Yeah. It was nice to get to meet people. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Absolutely. I need my glasses because I can't see otherwise. So it's been a great start to the school year. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge, as many of you know, there was a serious injury Friday night at our varsity boys basketball game in Peekskill. Soccer, I knew that. Thank you. And so the student from Peekskill is recovering nicely, but I just want to take a moment to acknowledge our team and their coaches and the way they came together as a team. As a mom myself, and I used to have soccer players, it's scary to hear about that type of injury, but our boys and their coaches really rose above it. I know it was an emotional weekend after. Myself and our high school principal and our athletic director had a chance to meet with the team yesterday. They're all doing okay. They had a game today. They took a picture to send to Peekskill, and they're also wearing armbands in honor of the student. And so while it's an awful thing that happened, I'm just so proud of our boys. And thank you to everyone who's just provided some emotional support during this trying time. And the boys played tonight. They played their hearts out from what I heard. So I was just really happy to be able to share that. On some positive notes as well, curriculum nights are underway. We already heard that. So tomorrow night is high school, and then next week is elementary. I really enjoyed our senior day on Friday. I had every intention to go on kayaks with the kids, but didn't have a chance to do that. So I did go up and watch the impaired driving session, which is so important for our kids, especially seniors, just to remember when you have your license, it is something that is wonderful, but it can cause a lot of damage if you're not a safe driver. So I actually had a chance to put on the goggles, and I think I had vertigo all weekend because after just experiencing what you would experience if you're impaired. Wonderful program. Then I walked down with that part of the senior class down to lunch, so down Main Street to the boat club, and it was great just to hear from our high school principal and the student advisors talking with the kids. It was really just a lovely day to celebrate our seniors. And it's only the beginning of the school year, which is great. We also had last week a student-led 9/11 in memory of kind of celebration. And that was just wonderful to watch our students lead the entire ceremony, speak on behalf of either family members that experienced 9/11 firsthand, or share personal stories from those who have survived. So it was just very, very touching and a beautiful example of all things Haldane. And just a quick special thank you to all of our partners tonight who are going to be presenting here with us for capital projects. So we have people here from CS Arch, the Palumbo Group, and Pastoral Engineers. So thank you all for spending some time tonight with us.
So since we have some student recognitions, we're going to start with those so that those folks will be welcome to stay for the meeting, but will also be welcome to the part of the meeting after they have their recognitions. So we want to start with that. So we're going to start with some recognitions from the National Merit Scholarship Program.
So of course, yet again, this year, I'm honored to be able to present 3 students to you who have received recognition on behalf of the National Merit Scholarship Committee. 2 of our students scored in the top 3% within the nation. And while those students are not moving forward, it's important to recognize they are commended students by the National College Board. One of those students is Henry Shimming. Henry, if you want to just come on here. So Henry not only is a national commended scholar, Henry is a key member of the Blue Devils. We enjoy listening to him play his guitar. He has also restarted the philosophy club, which I'm completely not surprised about. He's an active member of debate, Model UN. Last year, when the kids all came back from UConn, they all said Henry should have been the #1 debater and he should have won the competition. So I wasn't there last year, but your peers and your classmates definitely thought that. Beyond that, Henry is also a dedicated athlete who competes in both cross country and track. While he was complaining about cross country when he walked in here today, I know deep down he enjoys it. So on behalf of myself, and I know we'll probably do a picture after, the board, congratulations, Henry, on being.
I do not. Those are the only ones I was given.
Okay. Well, the next one's gonna come up and get his certificate tomorrow, but I think he'll be okay with that, knowing him as well as I do. So Owen, you. Oh, I gave him. So now he gets to come up in here. But Owen, Dr. Duffy was just talking about how the soccer team came together and was united to support not only their own teammates, but to support the teammates at Peekskill. And I really think that speaks to Owen and who he is. In addition to that, Owen is also very active in debate, very active in Model UN. In addition, I got to learn so much about Owen and his science research this summer. Owen's father and I went back and forth on the science research project that he was part of. Would you like to share? Because I don't want to mess it up.
It was like a environmental science research program with Columbia for high school students and undergrads. So.
And what did you do your research in?
Microplastics in a marsh in Piermont, New York. So.
And obviously, in addition to that, he is the captain of the varsity boys. So congratulations to Owen for scoring in the top 3%, a national merit scholar. The final student is a semifinalist. So he scored in the top 1% of students who took the PSATs as a junior. And that is Seth Lunan-Pack. Seth is the founder and the captain of the Haldane National Science Bowl team, which I know we spoke about last year. For the first time, they went down to the city and they came in 3rd place. And being a founding member, 3rd?
we were in the final 8, but in the round before we got out, we beat the team that ended up getting third in the whole thing. As the King Wayland insisted that by the transitive property, we got third.
They got third because they beat the team that came in third. See, like, this is how my life functions as a high school girl. Haldane. You can all see it's quite easy to keep up with all of them. But in addition to that, he's also a member of the math and the logic interest group. Also partially responsible for the goats that are in the back for the Habitat Revival Club. He also is a contributor to the Haldane School newspaper. Outside of his academics, Seth is also a passionate musician who continues to be part of our jazz band here at Haldane. So Seth, congratulations, best of luck. Seth will continue in the National Merit Scholarship Program, and we'll see where that takes him. So finally, I am going to try to do something very quickly, and I promise if my phone works, it will be very quick. But I don't know if you follow me on social media, but I'm gonna get close to the speaker because it's just gonna be a couple notes of singing. So when you're the principal at Haldane High School and you go karaokeing with a group of juniors and you're downstairs, like where kids are, and you're having soda, you know, you're enjoying your time with the kids, and upstairs it's an open, you know, American pub for people, and the Haldane students get up to sing karaoke, and they decide to sing My Way by Frank Sinatra. And they bring the room, I mean, you guys were there, they basically bring the room to a screeching halt. And the guy who is the karaoke, like behind the scenes, he's like, this is like high school karaoke. I'm like, yeah, this is high school karaoke from Haldane. So Lucky, who I believe received 100% in his vocal performance for the New York State solo, let me get this right. The New York State School Music Association All-State Performance Ensemble Mixed Chorus Tenor 2, he received 100%. Lucky has had a lead role since he was a freshman in plays and musicals and anything he's done as it relates to theater. In addition to that, if you haven't heard him play the electric violin, you need to hear him play it. It is something spectacular. He's a true artist, and blessed and lucky to have him here. Sad to say, Lucky will be making a choice, unfortunately, due to Haldane having one theater and multiple concerts and multiple performances and trying to find dates to squeeze everything in addition to athletics and cross-country meets and football games and everything else. Of course, the NISMA and the play fall on the same weekend. And I wish we could all do everything, and I wish we could have you in both places at one time, but we can't. So here we are today to congratulate you on behalf of all of us here at Haldane. You want to take quick
We
pictures?
should, yes.
I mean, I know there's a lot.
I know, but we.
But we can.
So we went straight into pictures, but Mrs. Sniffen, thanks for those great presentations. It's always so nice to get to see the students being recognized and all of the great things they're doing. All right, so now this is exciting. Even though it's a business meeting, we have two presentations. And the first is a presentation from CS Arch, the Plumber Group, Dr. Duffy, and Passero Engineering, which is an update on our capital project. So it's very exciting.
All right, so I'm going to kick off and then pass to our partners. I'll start off with a joke because I think it's important to be human about these things. I've at least mentioned to one or two people in the group as partners that just hopefully the steps are working for the capital project. So
Especially after that.
especially after that, but But I really do appreciate just the personalized touch that you each had as you're getting to know me as the superintendent, but also the needs of the district. So I'll ask you in like 2 years if this is your favorite district, right? Lou, I'm looking at you. This might be your favorite
You're the
district.
best.
Yeah.
Number one.
All right. So to kick us off.
Oh.
Ooh, sorry.
That's not a joke.
It's turned on. Okay, so just to bring us. Well, okay. So project schedule, you have seen the board and community, a version of this really for the past year or so, but we wanted to condense it all on one slide. And this is something similar that I'm sharing. I shared opening day with the faculty. I shared at the middle school curriculum night. I'll share it tomorrow night at high school and also elementary next week. So we are moving along with the project. And as a reminder, as a community, you voted yes on this project almost a year ago, November. And so there's been a lot of work behind the scenes that if you were not involved in the committee, you maybe did not know what was happening. So since November until now, we have been meeting twice a month with CS Arch and others to get a sense of how should the project be rolled out? What do we want to make sure the goals are? What needs to be included? And we are now really close to bringing the plans up to the state for review. So that's the first circle you see here, September through November, and I believe that we're a little ahead of schedule there. So we'll probably be submitting the plans to the state on the earlier side. Then we go into the out to bid stage, and that's really between December and January. So once we get the approval from the state, we go out to bid, hopefully to get the very best and the least expensive cost for the different pieces of the work. And then spring to summer, so this could be, you know, if I'm being really hopeful, as early as April, May, but probably more likely summer, so July, let's say, where we actually break ground and start on the high school edition. So this is a general project schedule. If and when things change, I will make sure in our updates that we are communicating that to the board and the school community. So project goals, I really wanted to ground us in. This is work that started well before me. As part of my research and getting to know Haldane, I've really been so impressed with the number of committees and conversations that you've had back from 2020 to now. So this is a long time coming. The improvements that are included in this plan are really right for kids. And they also focus on these 6 goals. So educational space, we wanted to, as a school community, improve and enhance the educational spaces that our students learn and our teachers teach in. Safety and security, that'll be a theme tonight that you'll see. I love our district. And when I watch drop off and pick up, I'm not gonna lie, I have some wonderings, like I'm in awe that our kids are as safe as they are because we have students moving in between buses and cars, and everyone is really good about situational awareness. But this project does help promote safety and security across the district in a much needed way. Supporting the focus on student wellness. You know, we have some wellness centers or wellness suites that we're going to be including within the project, so that does support that goal. Having more social gathering and a cafeteria space for our high school students specifically. We'll see some updated slides tonight on that. Definitely a focus on enhancing our spaces for art. And then instructional technology. So looking at our different spaces that are connected to that. So these are the project goals, and we always try to ground ourselves in them as we're looking at different aspects. But I'll highlight again, safety and security of everything is my utmost. Everything's important, but as your new superintendent, I'm really looking at everything through that lens. And I know that our team here tonight has the same lens as well. Okay, so who is speaking from CSR? You got this the small stick? Is that what happened?
I'm privileged.
The privilege. Very good.
Hello, my name is Craig Digmans. I'm a project architect with CSR for my college. We're going to be showing and sharing the project updates for the high school specifically today. So we'll kind of see a quick overview of some of the design updates. We're really excited to share a lot of the development that's happened over the past several months. So we'll see some floor plans, and more specifically, we're going to see a lot more of the kind of more exciting, interesting renderings on the inside. So we'll give you a quick overview of the floor plans itself. You're seeing here on the left the first floor plan, and on the right the second floor plan for the addition that's going to be added to the high school. So starting up on the second floor, you're seeing that there are 4 general classrooms that are added, 1 art classroom, and mechanical room to support the entire addition. And then on the first floor, there is in the orange, the student support suite filled with several offices and support spaces. The lighter blue in the upper left corner is the STEAM Innovation Lab and the associated wood shop storage space. And then the big green square is the new student center. It's a 1.5-story high space that will primarily serve as the new cafeteria for the space. We're going to be seeing a lot of that today, including a lot of its kind of flexible functions and opportunities that it will present to the district. So just starting on the outside, here is standing right in front of the existing high school main entrance. You're looking on the left side is the existing building with 3 windows. Where the building kind of juts out right in the middle of the image is the brand new high school addition. And that's where you're seeing 2-story addition that we just kind of looked at in floor plan. And then off to the right side is the student center. You can see kind of the student center itself is lower compared to the rest of the addition, but that's because it's kind of dropping down into the site itself. The finished floor of that addition is about 6 feet lower than the rest of the addition, but the rest of the addition is level with the first floor and second floor as well. If we kind of walk a little further down and kind of this is the approach to the building, you can see the existing high school context on the left and the student center on the right. You'll kind of quickly see that a lot of the intentionality here with the material selection is we're going to be trying to match a lot of the same materiality of the existing building. So that red brick that is on the high school, we're going to be trying to maintain that same color for exact context, size of the brick as well. And you also kind of see the actual split face masonry that's kind of in that ashlar accent that's along a lot of the first floor and some of the existing stair towers. That finds its way into the addition as well. Take one more kind of look forward. This is what the addition kind of looks at nighttime potentially. Obviously, one of the kind of big kind of features of the space here that you're looking at is the big glass wall in front of the student center. Now, when we kind of were looking at the opportunities of how to kind of design the student center, one of the main things, the way the kind of addition set up on site was really kind of trying to take advantage of all the great views down toward the river, toward the mountains landscape. And that kind of was the idea and concept as far as really trying to maximize that view from the student center. So that is kind of oriented to look kind of straight down into the kind of best view possible from within the student center. And we'll kind of take a look on the inside, some of that. And actually, before we get there, here's just a quick look at the floor plan itself of the student center. So it's the same floor plan, left and right. The main difference you're kind of seeing between these 2 floor plans is the different potential furniture configurations within. On a daily basis of a given school day, the student center is going to primarily serve, of course, as the cafeteria for the space. You're seeing kind of a more typical cafeteria setup on the left, where it's kind of incorporates a variety of different student seating options. Furniture is something that'll be kind of finalized later, but what you're seeing here is loose chairs, more traditional cafeteria tables that can kind of fold up and kind of be stored. You're seeing more booth type seating. And you'll see a lot of this in kind of 3D in a few minutes as well. But really flexibility is kind of the key, and you're going to honestly hear that word a lot throughout the presentation. And then on the right, the seating is a lot of the same furniture, just set up and organized more for when the space kind of gets set up for an assembly or gathering. In both floor plans, there's kind of that wood shaded tan on the top and bottom. So on the bottom end of the floor plan, that is a 12-inch high stage platform. It's not a traditional stage that's say several feet up, but it's just a 12-inch platform off the ground. Intent being that it can kind of serve as a focal point for any presenter, any ensemble group that might be presenting, any kind of use for an individual user. Space is being used for a performance of any kind. During a cafeteria period, it will serve just as an extra space for additional cafeteria seating. On the top end of the floor plan is the learning stair. So that's the transition from the first floor level down to the cafeteria level. I mentioned earlier the cafeteria level of the student center. It's about a 6-foot drop from the first floor, and the rest of the building. When you come up, entering into the space from the main corridor, you're coming in through here and come up on this top level, or then you can kind of transition down. The learning stair is set up into different platforms and tiers where it can give students the opportunity to formal gatherings, whether it's different lunch period or of course just extra opportunities for seating in a given assembly or gathering. So here is kind of that view standing at the top of the learning stair, not far from the entrance from the corridor. So you're kind of seeing that context of the learning stair itself right in the foreground. But looking out, you know, you're kind of seeing that great big glass wall. In this case, you're literally looking straight ahead from this angle, kind of with the main building straight ahead and a little toward the left. You're seeing some of that existing context of some of the hills directly outside. But in this particular view, you're seeing this set up in a given lunch period. You'll see kind of all the different seating options that we're kind of looking at and exploring at the moment. Not finalized yet, but stuff that we'll kind of get into in the coming months as the furniture kind of develops. We kind of take one look, one slide forward. This is what the space could look like in an assembly format. You're seeing all those loose chairs set up at the front of the space in typical traditional rows. And then some of that same cafeteria furniture can be organized kind of however ideal for a given setup. In this case, some of those booth setups, some of those booth seats get set up with tables in front of them for, you know, extra seating. One more angle kind of further down on the ground itself. Here is again kind of the lunch setup and kind of a closer look at some of those different layouts. You'll see beyond now kind of where we were standing before, looking straight ahead. There's that kind of blue graphic wall. You get a sense of some of the finishes we're beginning, the color scheme that we're beginning to kind of explore and incorporate. But you know, we're looking at trying to kind of really make blue and white, of course, a big focal point of the space itself. In the far left, in the far kind of straight ahead area behind the masonry wall, there's that other blue area. That is a small little concession stand where we'll incorporate some serving equipment for snacks and different food options, grab and go equipment during a given lunch period. And if the space gets used, say, in the evening for events, can also be flexibly used to serve any snacks. And again, same thing for seeing this kind of an assembly from the same standpoint, seeing again the different seating options, seeing how the space kind of changes at nighttime. If in this case you want to actually kind of have that backdrop of you have a nighttime sky behind the presenter, or if there is something needed, you can always just pull these black studio curtain back and have really kind of that flat, you know, black background if you need it. There are operable shades on this space as well. So there will be kind of the option, if you don't want just all the black, there will be options to just bring the motorized shades down for light filtering. This is kind of a quick opportunity to kind of see some of the different materials you just kind of saw within the renderings. I won't go into detail by detail, but again, it kind of gives you an overview of the color scheme itself. We're looking at materials that are going to be kind of you know, extra durable and appropriate for a space that's going to get foot traffic day in, day out for a cafeteria. We're going to be looking at kind of woods that are not necessarily the exact wood that's in the rest of the building, but are complementary to the materials in the building and also kind of appropriate for some of the finishes that we are looking at. So I'll actually take a quick look at, it says we need access for this one. I saw this in the preview earlier, but
Okay. Who am I requesting access? Oh, it's me.
so as this is getting set up, we're going to take a quick video walkthrough tour through the student center real quick. It's going to be a lot of the same images we just saw, but it'll kind of give you perspective and get you a little more familiar with the space.
There we go.
So this is standing right at the corridor coming from the existing first floor. Coming through and kind of being on top of the learning stair, taking a walk down. And yeah, one of the things I didn't mention before with some of the renderings, we were seeing kind of the open ceiling design up top. It's, you know, intended to be kind of open structure, painted out all black with the intent that, you know, all the ductwork, sprinkler piping, everything that's gonna be above there is painted out black and essentially becomes invisible. But it lets everything below it kind of really be highlight of the space. Seeing acoustical treatments on the left wall with all the blue paint and different sound panels. Heads up on various cafeteria furniture, and fabrics are something that will be looked at and material selections reviewed. But again, blue and white is kind of the starting points. Stage platform on the left that I was talking about earlier. And you can see also just some of the masonry from the existing building that we're going to try to kind of incorporate in certain key areas on the inside of the space. Looking straight ahead, there's a flexible group room that overlooks there. There's the concession space that serves food out of. There's a few associated storage closets below. We're kind of trying to de-emphasize those a bit by painting the same color as the wall. But just in general, you can kind of see the different platforms and the way the learning stair kind of wraps the space. It really kind of is intended to try to get as much gathering and flexibility as possible. I need to exit or do something a little bit different. Seems like. Oh, actually, technically, I guess, yeah, we're not in PowerPoint anymore.
I'll let you advance.
So after the student center, we have a quick just view of a few of the other spaces in the addition. Sounds like there's going to be some additional information on the STEAM spaces itself, but first just a quick overview. Here is the STEAM Innovation Lab in the floor plan left, the wood shop on the right. So those are right off the main corridor, and they do actually have some interconnectivity between them. There is a shared door between the two spaces, and there is, in the wood shop's case, a dedicated storage room. I'll show you a few quick 3D renderings of the space. So here is the STEAM Innovation Lab. What you're kind of seeing throughout is just different workbench tables with storage options incorporated. You're seeing power cord reels from the ceilings that will give kind of full flexibility on different power options. 3D printers on the rear wall, and in the teaching walls case straight ahead, there's kind of a sliding whiteboard panels that will kind of allow, of course, as much whiteboard space as possible, but also kind of the ability to slide open the panels for additional storage. Standing on the other side of the room, here is kind of looking straight ahead toward the wood shop on the other side. There is a glass wall kind of between the spaces, and again, kind of really encourages collaboration depending on how the spaces get used during or between periods. And walking straight into the space, here is the wood shop itself. This is where the kind of more heavy machinery equipment is, between drill presses, the table saw, spindle sanders on the opposite ends. The blue ductwork you're kind of seeing in both spaces. In the other space, it really is just the mechanical ductwork that serves and conditions the space. Here you're seeing some of that as well, but this is where we have a dust collection system that is going to serve the equipment itself. So right now it's kind of at least our concept to really highlight that and help bring in some of the just additional accent colors into the space. You are also seeing a big overhead door that'll kind of allow access out back to a work area. And then finally, this is just one of the general classrooms that are upstairs in the addition. Furniture at the end of the day, again, is going to be something that will be further developed and discussed with kind of stakeholders of the spaces to find the best fit. Ultimately, what we're kind of looking at is furniture, trying to determine what's going to be best for the space, as far as you're seeing really kind of just the simple single person desks that can be, of course, arranged however the layout is preferred. But there are many options, of course, that can be kind of had and reviewed. There will be additional storage furniture options that will be part of the discussion as well. The main component you're kind of seeing here in this rendering now is each classroom. We're currently planning for a full whiteboard panel wall, which you can see page right. It's got one central display monitor that'll be the primary teaching component, but the whiteboard panels themselves are magnetic and allow you really kind of as much writing space as possible. Rear wall, we're also provide 2 standard whiteboards, and you kind of just get a concept of the way some of the interior finishes are finding themselves into the spaces. And that is, yeah, like I said, really excited to be able to share you guys and kind of share these updates because it's been really great kind of working on it over the last few months.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the next part that we wanted to talk a little bit more tonight about is the site work update. And thinking through again what our goals have been when you are doing a capital project, you're budgeting for the actual building of different items, renovating with inside buildings, but then you also have to think about what modifications or adjustments might need to be made to the site work itself. And so these are some of the things that we're working through. So one of our goals, main goals really, is to separate and improve flow of bus, car, and pedestrian traffic for safety. Definitely a need here in Haldane. And also looking at our paving and sidewalk repair. And so some of the proposed changes that you'll see in a couple of the slides coming up is relocation and complete separation of bus traffic from parent drop-off and pickup traffic. This also may evolve a little bit with our transportation audit. So Paul from Hamilton saying it wrong. Thank you. Franklin Bosse's, and I probably messed up the order of that, but Paul is our partner in the transportation study, and he's been here now twice. And he's looking at drop-off pickup, how our flow is going. He actually sat in on a meeting today when we were talking about site work. So he is going to be giving his good thinking as we move forward with this. We are trying to reduce the number of people and children and adults walking the traffic. So really taking students from Maple Merit Building once this project is completed, which will be great. And then improving sidewalks and crosswalks for safety and for ADA compliance. We're also looking to make sure that we have access for emergency vehicles. So improving our roadways for that, our turns, and also just how the campus is connected. We want to increase parking capacity where we can. So looking for additional parking for cars and for bus staging areas. So you'll see a picture on that in a little bit. We also have working through some new bus drop-off zones and relocating some of the bus load and unload areas. So a little bit of shift in how we do things, but all definitely needed. And then connecting the upper and lower campus. So having one-way traffic connecting between upper. All right, Raul, you are up, my friends.
Thank you, Dr. Duffy.
Thank you.
My name is Rahul Verma. I'm the senior site civil engineer with Pastor Associates. So we've been working with Dr. Duffy and her team to really understand the flow of traffic, the flow of people, et cetera, across this campus, and then figure out how the site work revisions that we're making to address some of the that you brought up can be accommodated into this new site, this wonderful new addition. So we've got two slides here. On the left, you'll see what the existing condition is, right? What your traffic flow is now. And then on the right, with the proposed site changes and some of the connectivity, et cetera, you can see what the traffic flow becomes. So to walk you through this, in the blue line here is the bus route. So currently buses come in through the neighborhoods on the north side, I believe. Loop around back by the bus garage and then come out the other one way with drop off near the playground area, while the parents come up off of 9D and loop around in front of the building and go back out that way. So good separation there. What we discussed with the team is that with the proposed site layout, there'll be a slight change, almost flip-flopping those traffic flows. So now the buses will come in from below off of 9D, come up in front of the building, the elementary school, and be able to drop there with a dedicated staging area, queuing area, and then be able to continue up the hill through a new part, oops, the laser doesn't work, through a new road that's connecting now the upper and lower campus and be able to stop in front of the high school and pick up and drop off from there, while now the parents will go through the neighborhood, loop around where you see that purple line and be able to pick up and drop off with a dedicated, as Megan put it, valet parking area above the playground there. Right, so again, switching the traffic flows, keeping the buses out of the neighborhood and focusing more of their traffic into Route 9D and just the one road up in and out. And then, allowing cars, et cetera, to come through the neighborhood and to the campus and exit very quickly through those one ways. That's at the elementary school. Then we have the high school and middle school. So similar scenario, right? Buses currently come in on the high side here, loop around, same pattern, drop off somewhere in this area, and the kids walk to where they need to go, and then parents, et cetera, will come around this way. Now, when we go to the proposed site layout, again, that's going to be flip-flopped, right? Pretty much similar to what we had with that previous slide. So again, keeping that separation. What we do have is a new connector road between upper and lower campus, which does allow now traffic to flow. It's going to be a one-way downhill, so from right to left. But that does allow access from upper campus to lower campus. And even though it's signed as a one-way, in the case of emergency vehicle access, they will be able to come up from the lower side and go up the wrong way through the one-way for emergency vehicles to be able to get up there. That does afford you multiple routes in and out of the campus for a variety of vehicles.
I have a question. What's the proposed phasing for the site work in relationship to the work on the high school and the main building? Is it the third phase? Is it simultaneous?
Ooh, you might have
I
a
think
chance.
you might have an answer.
Come on.
Oh, sorry.
I'll answer it quick from back here. So the site work is gonna be the last
That's
piece of
right.
the pot. We wanna build the addition, and get all of the messy work done. We don't wanna be putting new work in place and having construction traffic going over new work. That'll be the final touch, is circulation, and we actually look at bidding that at a separate time, so we get a good number. It won't be bid with the additional, it'll probably be bid in the fall of 2026 for an install of 2027.
And are you bidding the high school and the main building at the same time, or is there a separate phasing with bidding as well?
We haven't talked about that internally. I think there's some strategies there where we talk about the high school, maybe. It's all going to be submitted to SED as one whole.
Yeah.
How we bid it, we need
Right,
to
that's
get
it,
creative on that, yeah.
Thank you.
And I had a quick question about the traffic flows that we just saw. Is this permanent or is this just during the construction phase?
This is anticipated to be the permanent traffic flows. Now, obviously, these are roadways, so, if it doesn't work as this gets built, you can certainly change signage, lane striping, et cetera, to, figure out something else. And, maybe your partner at BOCES, can help this. We kind of develop this further.
I think the other thing I would say about this right now, I do want to point out that it says proposed, right? And there's a slide that says that there's still a lot of communication to happen about this, right? And I'd like to say, it's proposed. This is a proposal made by experts to address what we know are significant security concerns with the campus. We recognize that the geography of the neighborhoods is very complicated. Nothing is going to be perfect, but this addresses concerns going back to, I remember sitting in this room after the shooting in Parkland and hearing many first responders talk explicitly and at length about their concerns, about their ability for first responders to access campus in an emergency, right? So this addresses that in some ways, as well as, again, we've said this plenty of times, but needing to get, Dr. Duffy's already spoken about this, but really needing to make sure that we're separating out pedestrians from vehicles. So again, proposed to address these issues, something that's not finalized yet, but again, really addressing what we know are really some very significant concerns about how people and cars move around the campus.
Yeah, I recall I believe it was the end of last year that the similar question was posed, and we were sort of put at ease by knowing that, like you said, you can change your mind. The roads will be there, and if you want cars and buses are cars and stuff. Yeah. So but it's not quite that simple. But what I mean to say is that throughout the process, at any moment,
Yeah. I think what I'm trying to do in my comments is really recognize the important work that Dr. Duffy and other people at the district have been doing with CSR and Passero, right? Like really working hard, but also recognizing that this would be a big shift for how people access the campus, and it would be something that we would want to make sure that we're communicating really thoroughly about with the community.
And so to that point, we just have two
Yeah.
other slides that tie nicely to this conversation. So next steps with site work specifically. We are continuing to refine the budget allocation, looking at what's being proposed with roadways, retaining walls, landscaping, etc. We are considering and will continue to consider what we learned from the transportation audit. And as I said at the beginning, Paul is involved in these discussions with us, and he shares his good thinking every time he's here. He's like, what about this? What about this? So it's very good to have him as a partner. And that'll help us fine tune the traffic flows. And then I do need to continue to communicate with the Village of Cold Spring on new campus traffic patterns, because this will be a shift for the community. And I am aware of that. And again, I'm 150% committed to safety and security first. And so that is something I will continue to have conversations on. As we need to. And then community updates. So as I'm sharing with each parent group, as I get to know everyone, we are going to have frequent, short communications about the capital project moving forward. So we have our September newsletter that'll be coming out. We'll have a piece in there about capital projects. Website will update as well. I will continue to do some short videos, and I really want to get our students and faculty involved in talking about their excitement with the project, the things they're looking forward to, and also addressing other things as we need to. And then we're talking about maybe the next budget presentation we have on the capital project. We also encourage the community to attend. So maybe we put an ad in the newspaper. We did, I did a message out to the school community mentioning that we have this meeting tonight, and we did have some new people show, which is wonderful, but I know we need to figure out other avenues to talk with community members that maybe don't have students who attend Haldane, but are still part of the work moving forward. So these are just some of the ideas, and I'm certainly open to other thoughts from the board in terms of how we make sure we get the word out. And then again, just a reminder where we're on the project schedule. So we are right on schedule, maybe a little ahead of schedule to get everything up to the state for approval. And then we will communicate out if there's any changes with this timeline as the year unfolds. Okay, so questions?
I have a question about, since we didn't see any updates on the main building, is it safe to assume that there haven't been any adjustments to the main building since the end of last year, or will we see any changes or adjustments are made before it's sent out for approval at the state?
So I don't think we have any major updates to the main building unless I'm just thinking through since
Not since April.
April
Yeah.
was a nice update that.
Yeah, we got it very.
But what I will-
Refining, it's been refined, but.
Of course,
nothing
yeah.
really.
But no programmatic shifts or nothing's been eliminated.
But Sean, what I will make sure I do, so we created a one-pager poster that I'm sharing at each curriculum night that really highlights some of the slides we saw tonight, high school specific, but it gives a summary of all of the work. I envision making one for the main building where it makes sense, and then that can also be shared out.
I really appreciate that you started out your presentation being really very clear that you're going to put student safety and security primarily, first, that really is, that's a real guide. I mean, I think it has been one of the guiding principles, but it's actually really, I think, to me personally, I don't know about the rest of the board, but to hear you say like that really is how you approach this, understanding that some of these decisions may be more or less difficult to make, but that the safety and security of students is really going to drive your leadership of this project. And thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're doing thank yous, I want to thank the finance administrative team I've had the honor to work with so far. They have been amazing with just giving me history on what's been discussed, really thoughtful and not shy about ideas that you might have. And they too are committed to the student and staff of security and safety. So we are in a great spot to continue to move the work forward.
like
Thank you.
the cast of so many.
And are we like your favorite district? Can we say with that, ooh, put his hands up, all right? Wonderful. All right, so we'll switch then to STEAM.
Oh, actually, there's one more thing,
Please,
just
go
a
ahead.
very quick thing that I want to say. So Dr. Duffy started with a slide about the community priorities, which made me think back that that comes out of the first work that CSR did for us 3 years ago. 3 years ago of coming in and doing such a thorough job in engaging with the community and getting feedback and holding focus groups and having the survey. And it just reminded me of, you know, where we started and my appreciation for CSR for being with us and sort of leading this through this. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So you're welcome to hear STEAM updates if you like. I know some of you have a drive home, so leave it up to you if you choose to stay. I won't take it personal.
You're still out of favor.
Do that.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. That was a great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great partnership.
Thank you.
You know, Kim, I feel like we should have asked them more questions, but then they just would have stayed longer.
Yeah. Do you have a question, Howard?
Yeah. Okay.
I
thought the So-
same. I thought the same.
What?
Like, you feel like you gotta ask more questions.
Yeah, like you came all this way. We've
It
heard
was
it.
a great
It's good.
presentation.
Good.
They've done.
It's good.
They've done a huge,
Yeah,
a huge amount of work. And, but I say they, but I've been to some of the OACM meetings. I mean, and the entire administrative team is there, like weighing in and, you know, been a big.
It looks good. I mean, it looks great. It's gonna connect, you know, the learning aspect to you know, the geography of this space. I mean, you can't beat our spot.
Mhm.
Comes down to location, you know, it's the 3 rules, right? Location, location, location. It does a good job with connecting the kids to the spot. I think it's great.
All right, that's a perfect segue, Ezra. Thank you. So we're going to have a STEAM update tonight, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the administrative team, but really Julia for putting together the slides and some of the vision pieces, and Josh as well. This is partly why I came to Haldane, was because of STEAM. So I'm so excited to be able to be part of one of the adult learners as we are continuing to develop what STEAM is going to look like, what our spaces are going to look like, and what types of experiences that our students are going to engage in. So really a very exciting time. So this is a STEAM update to give the board and community a sense of where we're at with our thinking now that we know the capital project. We saw some of the slides tonight. That's moving forward. We have to make sure that when we have these amazing learning spaces, that we have content and curriculum that will tie to Ezra's point in terms of pieces in the community, but then also what is that authentic type of learning that our students will be engaged in. So Josh, I'm going to hand it off to you.
So much.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
So I think one of the very exciting things that's happening is while the construction aspect is moving forward, we are simultaneously thinking around the curriculum and the learning opportunities and experiences that are going to be available to our students once these spaces are built. And I think with long before, it's really a great opportunity. We're getting design and space are converging together to think about conceptual philosophy and ideas and about learning experiences. And I think that's where you see the excitement come really on. And so STEAM really just is standing for, just as a reminder, right? Science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. And it's not that these, you know, obviously in any school district, these disciplines are happening in every one of them. But what STEAM really talks about is the collaboration among these disciplines to really maximize student experience, student interest. Phrases like innovative thinking, collaboration, communication, critical thinking. STEAM has obviously created an atmosphere that is really taking project-based learning to that level and giving it lots of names to it. So the exciting part here is, as we get moving forward, is this is happening here in Haldane already, right? This is happening in pockets, in places. I think when we talk about it, it's really about bringing this forward a little bit more and being a lot more intentional around the level of collaboration that happens amongst these disciplines, right? So our outline tonight just talks a little bit about our draft vision and mission statement. Get into some of the work that's happened over the last year as an update around some of the class visits, excuse me. We did see classrooms, school visits, and space visits. The creation of the spaces, the equipment selection, and then the curriculum and planning, the staffing, and some timeline, right? Again, going to, I think Peggy said it very nicely, proposed, right? I think part of this is the analogy of building the plane while it's flying, right? And so we know this space is happening and we are planning for that and we are moving forward in it, and we're having to make decisions and doing things sometimes as we're kind of figuring those spaces out, right? So a draft vision and mission. So I'll give you a moment just to kind of read through this on your own. Pre-K.
Yeah, but you have to add pre-K, yes, pre-K.
So simply, our vision is to inspire a generation of creative problem solvers by integrating science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics into dynamic, hands-on learning experiences. We aim to cultivate curiosity, innovation, and collaboration, empowering all learners to thrive in a rapidly evolving world. Our mission is to provide pre-K students with an inclusive, interdisciplinary STEAM education that fosters critical thinking, creativity, and real-world problem-solving skills. Through experiential learning and collaborative projects, we empower students to become innovative thinkers and lifelong learners prepared for future academic and career success. Question, does anyone see some terminology we've seen before, maybe? Say it out loud. I think the idea here is obviously, when we talk about the Haldane Essentials we've been working through for the past years, plus a lot of the work that's happened prior to my arrival in project-based learning. One of the things that I think we talk about a lot is that STEAM is a natural extension of the Haldane curriculum right now. It's not something we're trying to create brand new. It's just a thinking about where we are. And I think we're really well poised to take advantage of the situation, right? There's a lot of foundational work that has been put there around how our teachers think about their discipline and being interdisciplinary. As we go out and we're looking at hiring new teachers, 20 odd some over the last 3 or 4 years. These are questions and things that we're thinking about as we bring them on board. So I think we've done a really nice job to a spot where we have a tremendous amount of capacity to really capitalize on a draft vision like we have here. So as we move forward with some of this, I think the idea is that it's a natural extension of what we're kind of already doing, amped up a little bit more. Dr. Duffy?
Okay, thank you. One of the things I love to talk about is our connections between the Haldane Essentials and the New York State Portrait of a Graduate. So the board has already seen this, but maybe not this particular slide. So we are really trying to lean into the really great thinking of the Haldane Essentials that was created as part of this release a couple of years ago, and then seeing where it aligns to the Portrait of a Graduate. So for those who are not familiar, really the Portrait of a Graduate, and I would also say the Haldane Essentials, is identifying when a student graduates high school. So when a student graduates high school across the state, these are some of the skills that we feel as a state all students should have. When we look at the Haldane Essentials, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, growth mindset, emotional intelligence, and wellness, these are the areas that we are already teaching into to make sure our students have capacity in these different areas. And so when I think about STEAM in particular, it will and can have opportunities to encompass all 6 of these areas. So with the Haldane Essentials, this will be something that we will continue to reintroduce to the community, and any new parent that's here, this might feel and sound new. I'll be doing a learning session with parents, probably during a PTA meeting, just to unpack this with families. And then as a parent at home, how can you continue to encourage critical thinking? So maybe a student is coming home after having experienced a STEAM lesson. How can us as family members at home continue those conversations with our students? So kind of more to come on that, but I definitely wanted to take an opportunity to continue to ground the board's thinking and our thinking in the Haldane Essentials as we're talking about all things STEAM.
So I think you've heard us talk a little bit about the pedagogical approach of backwards design over the years, right? Like you start with the end goal in mind and then you work backwards. That naturally happened with this project because we get a bond passed and they're like, okay, now you have this room. You have, I don't know, it's probably like 1,500 square feet. How are you gonna fill it? And we're like, all right, well, we have to sit down and think, and how are we gonna fill it? But what's the end product that we want? What is it we want in there for the teachers and the students to be able to do? And STEAM isn't something that you just go to the New York State website and you look up STEAM curriculum and you look up standards. That's not how STEAM works. STEAM is fully embedded. It's ubiquitous within the math, the science, the English, and the social studies. So you have to look for those key words: problem solving, communication, all of the essentials that you were just talking about. Like that's where you find the STEAM curriculum. It's embedded within, right? So with that, we get our information and we know we have to fill a space, and you go back and forth on what do you want your space to look like. And we're a small group, but we are in a tremendous area and region where we can go out and we can pick the brains of other people. So immediately we did head down to Chappaqua. This is last September. The administrative team went down to Chappaqua. Following that visit, and that was focused on STEAM space primarily. We did look at the auditorium. We looked at some of their guidance areas and construction that they had done, but they built these beautiful spaces and some of them were empty. They didn't have equipment in it. They even said, like, students aren't using it yet. Our teachers don't know how to teach in it yet. And they had this like $1 billion project that looked great. Then in February, we started to pull in more people. And this wasn't, again, focused just on STEAM. This visit focused on a lot of the other parts of the project that were going on in addition to STEAM. And Marlboro, facilities wise, was similar to what we had, but we recognized on that visit, Josh and I had some follow-up conversations, even though he wasn't on the visit, about the space is similar to our space, but the philosophy that I think Josh agreed after the visit at Chappaqua and others that we were talking to, most aligned with one of the teachers at Chappaqua. And I have to mention his name, not that he'll ever watch this. But his name was Paul Rodstein, and he was the middle school teacher in Seven Bridges in Chappaqua School District. And when he spoke, you listened. He was amazing at how you connect to real life experiences and how you connect the curriculum, how you make problem or project learning come to life. So once we had that conversation, it was like, let's get our teachers back to Chappaqua. So we then targeted a few teachers and we said, we want you to go just spend a day with this guy, have lunch after, talk through what are the things that you think we can connect the curriculum through our spaces. And when they went to visit, they looked at the multiple centers. Some of the high school, that's a learning staircase similar like to what we're gonna have in our student learning center, but some of the spaces really weren't used all that well. You can see they have gradually built in the curriculum K-12. Of course, that's our goal. You'll see it in the timeline. We then, as I said, we're at Marlboro. Their spaces seem similar to our spaces. You can see a clean side, you can see a dirty side. This is a wall that breaks up the two spaces, even though it's two pictures. And then you see some of the equipment that they had. Then we started thinking about, okay, now we have our space. And we had multiple meetings with CSR about our own space and what it would look like. More on this than we did the Student Learning Center. So what you see here, I'm gonna go quickly because a lot of this has already been seen. This is the high school clean side. They talked about it before. One simple thing I'll say is if you take a look, these are 3D printers on the clean side. Originally, they had the 3D printers all the way across the back wall, like taking up that counter space. You don't need that. Like you can put those up. The high school kids can reach those in that stack. So now you have more counter space. There were little things that we learned through our visits that were important. It allows for more storage. This is the side where your projects are actually developed, where you're planning them. Then that's another clean side. Here we are on the dirty side. And when we talk about the dirty side, we needed to give CSR a list of materials, larger equipment that we wanted to order, and we needed to give that to them by April of last year. So there wasn't a lot of this like moving around, and you didn't want to order too much, so we tried to keep it simple. So on this side, we ordered scroll saws. I think I'm gonna skip that and go back. You have scroll saws, you have oscillating saws, you have drill presses, you have table saws for straight cuts, you have sanders. Obviously you need dust collectors. So even in the high school space, they're building in dust collectors within the venting system, but there still will need to be one portable dust collector because there's too much equipment for all of it to filter into that one collection system. So we do know we need to have one vortex cone up in the high school. The other 3 actually need to be down in the middle school because they can't put in all new ductwork down there because it's an already existing space. So the numbers you see here are not just high school. This is split. Half of this is for the space down in this building and half of it is up for the high schools. The table saw was for the high school. This came from our teachers that have been using project-based learning for a while now in their classrooms. I'm gonna go back.
Julia.
Yeah.
Just real quick. It's gonna sound like a stupid question, and I'm good at stupid questions. Why not just couple compound miter saws? Like you're just gonna, it's the easiest thing. It doesn't take up much space. Table saw you need, but I don't see anything for just easy cross cuts.
I'm sure there will be some form of an easy cross cut, but you're not gonna be able to rip a board on
No, you
so
don't.
you're still gonna need, your table saw depending on what you're building.
You need that, but I'm saying in addition to what you have there, there's just no.
We
The
do
easiest
also
thing you have is a compound.
have compound saws already.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have to look at it and say, I did not touch nothing.
That was,
That was my question.
Why'd you do that?
We I wanna say, we definitely have 1, we might have 2. Already,
Yeah.
within the district. And again, you can get those for like $425.
Oh, yeah.
So we were looking at the things that we saw like up against those walls. We're thinking about dust collection. We're thinking about what is it that we exactly need.
Gotcha. That's not really a complete list. It's like things that you got to go out to be able to fill.
That we needed to tell them
I got you.
on April.
Right. First space.
First
I get it.
glance at it, yeah.
Got you. Thank you.
So the next slides, if we don't come back up, are the walkthroughs, like you just saw, of the cafeteria or the student learning center. It's the walkthroughs of both spaces. It's the walkthrough of the high school space and it's the walkthrough of the middle school space so that you can actually see both sides. You'd see the clean side and you would see the dirty side of both. While Megan's pulling that up, Josh mentioned some of this is already going on. Our engineering class, for example, is in the process of building designing and building picnic tables for outside. So we do have some of these saws and some of the material already that will be used in these areas. But the project launch just happened last week. So it's a project that's happening. Where is it happening? It's happening in science classrooms. Sure that it's not near the chemistry room with the chemistry chemicals. We have to make sure that safety guards are put in place because the safety guards are haphazard because it's not built to do what it is that we want it to do. The room's not built for it. So yes, we are doing some of these things, but we need the space to do them effectively and safely, which we don't have right now. Meg, if you just wanna go all the way to slide, I think it's 10 or 11, we can skip right over to, actually it's 12. There you go.
Is it this?
So, yep, this is the high school, student walks in, you're down on the clean side. Actually, this is middle school side, sorry, this is the middle school. No. Right?
No, that's not high school.
I think it's,
Gotta be.
hold on, I'll tell you in a second. That's the high school. Yeah. They do look similar.
They do,
The
yeah.
blue entrance is what gives it away. This one did not have the blue entrance. So that's the clean side. Lots of storage, water. These were things we learned and we talked about. You know, you walk into the Chappaqua, they have no water. It's like, it's a disaster. They're all running to the bathroom and they're making a mess everywhere and somebody's then yelling at us. So lots of things that we learned. Storage, you can never have enough storage. You can see in the back there, there's a lot of large area for wood and for metal. There's the garage door that opens up, so if the projects are bigger, the projects go outside.
And that goes to the back,
The back of the high school building.
back of the high school building.
I'm gonna just, in an effort of time, here's the middle school. There's the blue wall. So as soon as you walk in, you're walking into the clean side. This wall has moved 3-4 times. I think we've decided to move that wall throughout talking about this. So the clean side is definitely smaller. We needed to give more space to the working side, but again, you still see a sink, which is not in there right now. Those are 3D printers. Glass door and windows to see through to the other side. There's your sander. There's some of your drill presses in the back, circular saws, sander. There's one of your vents, your portable vent to collect your sawdust. You notice the hanging electrical and you notice the door to the outside, as well. There's a second.
Does this not have wood storage in it, or did I just miss it?
I don't think it is.
It doesn't have the same
Yeah.
amount of storage. There was the tunnel.
The tunnel.
There was conversation, like this does not take over the whole space in terms of where our ENL teachers are right now for fear of losing that classroom space as well. It just goes one of the ENL spaces. So you leave the other one over there. So not nearly as much storage space right now, for sure.
For use of those, the 3D printers, is the plan to purchase some new laptops and computers for the clean side of both?
Yeah, so they will need, and they run off different programs. So depending on what 3D printers you purchase, we already have spent some of the district budget last year, at the end of the year, as it related to equipment. And we were able to purchase a laser cutter. So right now we have an X1 laser cutter that we are using and learning and playing and practicing and getting ourselves ready. And our teachers are getting ready to, how do I use this laser cutter? What's the best way to use it? It cuts it cuts everything. So you design what it is on the computer, you put in your material. I mean, it's wood, it could be metal, it could be plastic, it could be rubber, it could be anything. And the laser cutter is cutting out what it is that you have. The different types of projects you can do with that are endless. And just go online and look up and see the projects that students are doing right now with laser cutters. It's pretty unbelievable. I did have one embedded in here, but it was 10 minutes long. Yeah, like that's too long to watch.
It sounds amazing. I'm just curious though, are students going to be bringing like their own Chromebooks that they walk around with all day into that room? Or is there going to be like an area set up with?
There's definitely going to need to be some equipment in that room. And it's going to depend upon what projects that the students are working on. Some of these devices are school-based, or some of the laser cutters or the 3D printers they're built for schools. Like they're not built for industry, they're built for this. So their programming is on Chromebooks. And then some of the projects are obviously a little bit more intense. they are going to require different platforms or different software to be able to develop,
Right.
to then on your 3D printer, make your prototype, to then take your prototype and actually on the dirty side, make it, whether
Yeah.
you're making it out of metal with lasers, that would be on the clean side, or you're using the saws and the sanders and everything else on the dirty side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. This is just one that we've just started on September 8th, a project at the high school. Here's
Oh, there.
one of the laser printers. Again, right now we already have one of these that's being used right now. And we have, how many laser 3D printers do we have in the district right now, Leah?
Like 10.
10. So we do have some of this and we are working with them. You're back up.
I was just wondering, I remember discussion about a kiln. Is that in the art classroom? That's separate from the STEAM. Okay.
Great. Which way to go? I'll go too far. So to kind of, I think Julia had alluded to it earlier, it really fits, the backwards design process, right? Where we know the space is going to be there and we're kind of filling it with things and that would help it out. And we're working our way from that, thinking about what we want students to be able to do and then start building it from that. I just alluded to it earlier, just saying how well positioned we are here in Haldane with this. Problem and project-based learning is not new conversations here by any means. And over the last couple of years, we've really been having conversations with our staff around universal design as kind of our framework for thinking about how we plan, where design matters and we want to be as inclusive as possible. And while we have lots of great things happening and opportunities through our districts, I think what we're talking about here is a really embedded curricular programming that is open to all students at a very early age and continues to be open to them all within their schedule. So you're not getting it based upon availability in spots, but it's actually an intentional programming to walk students through this process, right? And obviously, the analogies with universal design are just so many when we're talking about designing spaces and thinking about it, and commend all of my colleagues who helped me go down there. The joke is I don't know anything about saws or anything like that, right? So I went down there and was like, whatever y'all think, right? Like, it sounds good to me. But the level of intentionality has to be there around thinking around, well, what could we actually get that we don't even know what we want to make yet, but designs the most possibilities we probably could. And it's where we are right now, right? It's not where we're going to be ultimately, but it is where we are right now and positions us in a very good spot. So I think one of the key things around this, as I'm listening to questions around, well, what types of computers you need or programs and stuff like this. I mean, we know this about any program you have, but the teacher or teachers are just probably the biggest resource we haven't really talked about right now. It's really talking about getting dynamic individuals to come in here. And when Julia speaks about the individual we saw in Chappaqua, it's that type of impact person where you're just like, wow, somebody walked right on in, owns that program, and just runs with it, with that passion that they have, and just it takes off. And so as we think about moving forward, these are going to be big focal parts of what we concentrate on, is trying to find these dynamic individuals that are going to really come together and lead this program and tell us what we need moving forward as we go through with this, right? And so along this lines, certifications has changed drastically in these areas within the last 10 years, right? STEAM is now a certification area that you can get in, and obviously a CTE has been one. And when you're talking secondary, you're looking for those certification areas, right? Obviously, because you need that in order to teach certain classes. And it also allows you to make sure that these courses can count for certain graduation requirements or certain pathways that are available for students moving forward. So obviously the certification is going to be extremely important within the 7-12 realm. The elementary, same thing is available. The flexibility lies where you can still have a K-6 generalist individual be a STEAM teacher, right? So the certification allows for a little bit of flexibility within that. Or we can go out and look for somebody who's the STEAM certification, I believe, is K-12 anyways, right? So it's not limited in that way. but provides ourselves with a little bit of flexibility there, right? And so I think some of the ongoing conversations we're having is obviously, you look at this in conjunction with enrollment studies and all the work we've already done in aligning schedules and moving the 5th grade up to be 5, 6 and positioning. We're really positioned ourselves again to be able to maximize the staffing opportunities that may arise themselves should they move forward, right? It's an opportunity, it's a place to be. It's a good place to be in that. So these are areas that we're looking at, obviously, in some of our next steps. Proposed timelines, I like to throw out there, but we can't change 2024, 25, that happens, right? That's not proposed.
Remember, we were supposed to give this presentation.
Right, at the end of last
year.
We did do those things. And as we think about this layered on top of the capital project and building phases, right? You know, this current year is obviously continuing to work off our vision and mission and get that solidified. Engaging in those K-12 conversations with students and faculty, professional development, things like the Discovery Conference, program planning, pre-K-12, and program alignment, right? So it's really a continued learning phase, a lot more than it was last year, really moving into the programmatic pieces of it. So we think about the following year, we're looking at hiring individuals. Elective courses offered at the secondary level. Obviously curriculum writing and summer institutes that we're talking around, thinking about bringing back, reimagining, coming back around STEAM education, pre-K-12 for our teachers. And then obviously in the 2027, 2028, we're talking around hiring for the lower level, obviously continuing with curriculum writing, summer institutes. And it's around that time that we're thinking we're having a working lab up here at the high school side, right, at that point.
I got a question, Jim.
Yeah.
So, you know, a few years ago, it was very hard to find shop teachers because there weren't a lot graduating from the programs. So, you know, some of the upstate schools that, you know, do this, right, the colleges, they didn't have a lot of, they just didn't have a lot of graduates. So it became hard to fill a position, something, you know, think like, yeah, I mean, you know, like, yeah, like foreign language, tough one to fill, right, and to hold on to, and then shops actually, you know, STEAM, whatever you want to call it, it's a tough position to fill. What makes you think that we have the draw where we're going to be able to get like some of those schools, they graduate like 6 guys, six people
Right.
with the, so what's gonna make them come here?
A $2 million room, state-of-the-art equipment. And if you really love this and you want to build your own and you want to develop, I think that's very attractive for somebody. And there are people that I've had many conversations with, not that they're going to come here, but people who recognize what we're doing and what we're about to embark in. And, you know, a lot of people are retrofitting now, you know, they're not building because enrollment, again, we know enrollment isn't going up, right? When we talk about hiring, like we're talking about attrition, we're talking about those types of things. People aren't building right now, so they're trying to retrofit their spaces. Like we're pretty fortunate at the high school. This isn't a retro. Like this is brand new. And so I do think that being a district like we are, we've had really good success in hiring. I'm hopeful that that will continue. And I think we have to be proactive in the process of hiring. Like when the timeline, when do you advertise? What do you advertise for? You know, we say here, hire secondary educator for 26, 27. Does that mean when that person's in place for 26, 27? If we have multiple retirements this year, do we hire that person so that next year, you know, maybe the teacher right now at the high school who's teaching 6.5 is only teaching 5. The engineering course already goes to the person. The room might not be ready yet, but they're building the momentum with those freshmen and those sophomores to be like energized and enthusiastic about what's next. And so that the base is built right? At a high school level, when you come in and you just start an elective right away, like, they don't just come, right? You've got to build it and you've got to sell it and then they want it. So I think we have to be really thoughtful in that when is the right time for the hire? You know, if there is multiple people retiring through attrition, is that the right time to give them the year of planning and preparation? And then to cut the ribbon and be the person who now has it all in front of you? Sounds pretty sexy to me.
Yeah, there is on there, you have program planning for K-12 too, so then we wanna see this beyond just electives though.
Yes.
So then this individual, you know, that's the other thing, it's like, we do know that it's ultimately the teachers in the program that make it work, right? The space is, it enables it. It makes it, like you said, safer, it makes it more doable. But you know, imagine that space not being used for an elective. How is it being used? Right? Does that make sense? So if it's not being used for an elective at any given moment, how do you see it being used either with that individual who came in and isn't teaching, but is maybe guiding other classes and other staff, or how do you see that kind of play out?
I think that space can be used. The art teacher, right? Like, you see the arts, you see her developing and building and doing different things. I do see different courses but I actually see more of not elective, but for science credit courses being offered in there, that this project-based learning is part of it. Like, we'll talk next month about changes in regions and all of that kind of stuff, and the opening the doors of, like, I feel like there's freedoms now that are happening in terms of coursework and things that can be offered, not just electives.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
these are courses that, it could be a math class
Yeah.
that's in there for credit through programming that they're actually then developing and building
Sure.
off of what they've programmed in that space.
Yeah,
So
it makes
I don't see it as just elective, and if I said that, I
No,
really
you
should
didn't.
have,
You didn't.
like,
You
been
didn't.
careful
I'm
there.
looking at program planning K through 12 and electives.
Yeah.
So it makes me think, you know, I grew up in Jersey, right? And so in 6th grade, we had to drop eggs off the roof, right? That's, everybody dropped eggs off the roof. You had to build your little thing, right? But drop it off. In 9th grade, we didn't have regions, right? So you had to build in geometry class your own putt-putt, right? That was part of your final exam. So you had to build a putt-putt thing out of wood, right?
Build a mousetrap.
Right. So, which in my estimate was a very valuable use of time, energy, and, you know, now we call it STEAM, but it's just like, you know, it's what you did in New Jersey. So that's what I would imagine the space for, right? And when we talk about curriculum and putting people there, it's like that process is key, because we know that we have, you know, our teachers do a lot, right? And they're pulled in a lot of different directions. So how do we keep this momentum going the whole time?
So I would just add quickly, that's where the Haldane Essentials comes in, like that connection back to when we think about critical thinking, problem solving. I think like years ago when I was in school, people used to say, everyone's a special educator, or everyone should be E&L teacher. I would bring that forward to 2025. Every teacher, every educator should be thinking of education in that project-based learning, problem-based learning lens. And this ties to me when I think about our vision and mission. Josh introduced it. That will evolve a little bit. I think about the professional development that is not only going to be used for these teachers we're identifying, but for all teachers. So I see this really growing and tying to the Haldane Essentials.
We had mentioned earlier, Leah's here, and I don't want to put her on the spot, but we had a summer institute for many, many years here. And it was around environmental education. And we had tons of teachers coming every summer for, I don't know how many days, it was a week and a half. Like, we were doing environmental projects with our teachers to then have them turnkey some of those things in their classrooms, right? And that went on for years. That was Mark Valanti, and it was a summer program. Like, I envision that same type of thing happening around this, internally with our people who know how to do this. Because there are people here who do it and do it really well.
Well, I want to say, I really appreciated that the presentation started out with the side by side. I think it was this presentation of the Haldane Essentials and the portrait of the graduate, right? Like there's this really nice synergy, right? That talks about that by design in terms of what we want, but also by need, because what the state's requiring with the portrait of a graduate, we want to be developing different pathways towards graduation and different opportunities. And I think it came through in, getting ready for the superintendent search, and certainly as the board was conducting the superintendent search, like the board really recognizing with the new portrait of a graduate and the new graduation requirements that we really needed to have, even though we're gonna stay, expecting teachers without, like that we wanted to continue to diversify what we are offering. Yeah, so it's a cool time for this to be happening.
I had a question about the hiring the educators. Is there an opportunity for teachers or current Haldane teachers, if somebody wanted to go out and do some professional development or get that course, if they wanted to come and be that person?
Yeah, I think certification wise, it's about 18 additional credits for a different supplemental certificate based on if you already have one, right? So that is a pathway that teachers who are interested can obviously partake and go through. It's not just as much as like a course or two, and the state has actually come down from that, but our current understanding is it's around 18 credit hours that teachers have to go through.
It's interesting because some of the teachers that we had listed on that you had listed on was going on to some of the site visits, there's people who are really into that and who are really good at what they do. So I was just wondering if, that was something that they had mentioned they may be interested in.
But like we said, if their certification is 1-6 or K6 or pre-K6, like technically they're certified to do it already in those grades. They wouldn't be certified to be able to do it in grades 7 through 12. That's where that CTE or STEAM is necessary for them.
I really appreciate Maggie's point and the fact that there may be somebody internal, but when you look at a program like this, there's a huge amount of expertise, which actually some of our teachers may have in terms of, because we're really, it's a big lift. It's program development and curriculum development, as well as really understanding, engineering and all these different, it's a lot. But very exciting.
For sure.
Oh, I have one more question. So when you say hire in 26, 27, is the idea that we're expecting that person would start in 26, 27?
That would be my hope.
That would be the, all right.
But
Because it's just.
Catherine's behind you laughing at me.
That in terms of, it's not too soon to be thinking about, right, where that's gonna happen, because I heard Josh say, and anyway, it's certainly something to be figured out.
I don't want to be opening up the doors to this brand new space
Right.
and having a teacher on the first day walk
No,
in.
that makes perfect
Doesn't,
sense.
you need to build the capacity
And
and
we
you need
really
to
think,
sell it.
and we really think that high school could be ready for 27. That is crazy.
Don't officially quote me on it, but that's the direction we're going. I'll just offer quickly with staffing, and Josh is aware of this as well. So there's a pipeline when people are thinking about STEAM and this new certification. And so we are very fortunate to live in the region we do in terms of all the admins, myself, and maybe some members of the board. We're highly connected to educators in the community. And so at BOCES, there's a STEAM circle. I don't know what they officially call it, but like a group of STEAM educators come together monthly to learn about best practices and things like that. And so, I'll be honest, I have 2 people that are kind of waiting in the wings who I've worked with previously that would love to talk at Haldane, right? And talk when the time is right. So I understand it's a great question to ask. I'm not as worried about not finding the right person for all these factors.
And also, we're on it already, like, we're talking about 26, 27. If we can find this person and the budget supports it, and we'll work with Catherine and all those good things.
the budget was.
Right, like this person will teach and help a teacher who's maybe teaching 6.5, so we'll reduce a 6 period. But then some of the day we'll be doing, I would envision, some of the vision work, some of the identifying what will our summer institute look like, what type of curriculum do we need to do? Should I go visit other schools while we're waiting for the space to be built? So it's really this person, if they are able to come and start with us, let's say whoever it is, they'll have a pretty cool job next year, but also really help us make sure our vision and mission matches, the space as it comes.
Thank you.
Exciting.
I think we're.
Great.
All right.
All right, thank you, Julie.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, again, to say again, like, just a lot of people working on this and, with some people leading it, and a huge effort, so much appreciated. Very exciting. All right. So we're now, I don't have my reading glasses. We're now at the opportunity for communication from the public. The Haldane Board of Education desires and values input from the entire school community. This first public comment session is reserved for comments on special presentations and active agenda items. Anyone who'd wish to address the board, we ask you to sign in and state your name for the record. The superintendent or I would get back in touch with you. All right, next on the agenda are the administrator information report. So much good stuff in those reports. Thank you so much. Really great. Did anybody have anything they wanted to?
I just wanted to ask, I was super,
Yes,
I was excited to see that the JCK Foundation came in already to the middle school. Could you tell us a little bit about what they talked about?
So we spoke with the parents during our curriculum night last Thursday to give the 3 parents a overview of what they're going to discuss at the assembly. So they shared a little bit about their own stories. They shared a little bit about their previous work with Haldane. And then they'll be back on the 22nd to do an assembly for the 8th grade and some follow-up with the 9th grade. And then they'll be back again on October 6th to do small group work with the 8th grade and some follow-up with the upperclassmen. So yeah.
I want to meet with seniors.
So there was so much in the reports. The one thing I really wanted to call out was I was relieved to hear that for the pre-K that all the people who had applied to the original lottery were able to ultimately get a seat because some parents made a decision. Yeah, I was so glad.
We had a few who ended up withdrawing for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
That meant the original group that applied.
Everyone got in.
Everyone.
I was so gratified to hear.
So we have a little bit of a wait list for people who applied in like May, June, July. But the original lottery.
Yeah, that was great. And just another exciting reminder that. Next on the agenda is approving the minutes from our last meeting. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is consent agenda financial. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Don't think there's anything in particular to call out here, so all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next is consent agenda personnel. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Lot of people coming on to be substitutes and lots of good things. I have the motion in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unfinished business is we just want to formally approve the shared goals of the board and the district that we discussed at our last meeting. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Yep. Oh, wait, sorry. We have to have the recommended action first. Holiday. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
thanks. May we have the recommended action, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby adopts the shared district and Board of Education goals for the 2025-2026 school year as presented.
May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
So yeah, very exciting. And it was actually another thing to thank actually all the administrators about is people laying out their goals for the year and sort of seeing how they tie in with the district and board goals. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And next is new business and it's an action CP.
You want to do regional?
Oh, yes, we do. Sorry.
Quick
Yes.
update.
Yeah, quick update on that.
Okay, so as Peggy mentioned, the two of us attended a meeting last week at Putnam BOCES and really to hear the continued plans on this topic. And so the thought is BOCES is going to be offering lots of different ways to support districts regardless of where districts stand and what type of support they need. That's really their role as BOCES, is to look at needs across the region and how can they partner and provide support within districts. And so I did put in the board update on Friday a couple of slides. So we have an opportunity to continue to partner with BOCES in a couple of different areas. We are not, if we agree to continue to partner, we are not providing any funding, giving any money. I promise this is just a conversation, continued conversation. So all 4 activities would really benefit, I think, most schools. The first is regional mental health services expansion. And so BOCES is looking to continue to establish a regional behavioral health support network through shared services. This will include a mobile crisis support, partial day programs, some of the things they actually already offer, urgent care expansion for grades K through 6, and regional social emotional training. So that's one area. The second is cooperative pre-K and CPSE services. So that is really an opportunity for BOCES to coordinate at the regional level. Pre-K seats and CPSE provider services through BOCES. So let's say we happen to have 30 kids that wanted to attend pre-K and we didn't have the spaces here in Haldane. That could be an opportunity for Haldane or other districts to partner. The third is transportation coordination. I'm really interested in this one. This is helping districts across the region look at out of district routes. So if you have a student that maybe is from your home district, but is attending a school, attending BOCES or attending another school, BOCES would help coordinate transportation. So that's definitely an area that I would be interested in partnering with BOCES on. And then the fourth is also timely and interesting regional work-based learning coordination. So building upon what Haldane already does for the internship program, but developing a centralized system to provide internship opportunities for students and work-based learning across the region. So these are the 4 different areas. What I need to do is let BOCES know by October 1st, which, if any of the activities we would like to continue to partner with BOCES on. They're doing the work regardless if districts sign up to partner with them, but we do have an opportunity to have a seat at the table and kind of talk through what type of partnership Haldane could benefit from. I don't know if you want to add anything there.
No, I mean, I would just say, like, it is really clear that, you know, that PNW BOCES is with the collaboration and input from all the component district superintendents had really worked to identify, you know, a handful of areas where there are needs across the board, right? So the internship and work-based, I might not say them all right, internship and work-based learning, pre-K and CPSE, transportation, and, you know, and mental health, really a recognition, especially when you have small districts. A district on its own may not have the resources to really support families with children in crisis. They all sounded and made sense to me. And again, to reiterate, you know, Neil Boyle, the PNW BOCES superintendent, you know, made very clear that, like Dr. Duffy just said, we're not really committing to anything right now, except continuing to be a part of a conversation about these potentially, you know, really quite valuable services. And it was, you know, to Dr. Duffy to look across the 4 and think about the 4 that she thought made sense for us to continue to be part of the conversation for. Yeah.
And with the transportation coordination, is that like ride shares, essentially the two districts that are neighboring are both taking a student out of district to the same destination.
That it very well could be, yes. Yeah.
So you don't have 3 cars going, but you can
Correct.
maybe have a couple, yeah.
Mhm.
But all of it, anything that we decided to do, of course, the board at the time would
Mhm.
be able
Right.
to
Yeah.
approve or not approve.
Mhm.
So do people have any objections with being?
They all sound like they make a lot of sense. I love the idea of the mental health opportunities, of course, but also the internship and work-based learning. Like, that's so
Yeah.
great. I mean, that just makes sense that it should be shared resources and having that communication regionally.
All right, so now. Moving on into new business, the CSE, oh, no, just stop. Thanks very much for, I mean, Dr. Duffy, she just started and she jumps right into PNWOCs and gets up to speed with it, so I really. CSE, CPSE recommendations, recommended action, please.
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the recommendations of the committees on special education and preschool special education as presented.
May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And by policy, and actually I think because it's a law, every year the board is to receive an update on our student attendance reports. And so those are in executive content, but we have them at different levels for the past couple of years. And I think, is there anything, it's been a long meeting, but I think one of the things, is there anything you wanted to say about them to get
Sure.
started?
Yeah. So I just, again, I am in awe of our principals and all that they do on a daily basis, but I did ask them to share on Friday a general sense of how they track and support students with attendance. And so we do have a policy in place. I would like to, that's a good one to look at when we do come together as policy committee, but each principal has a system to track attendance, provide support to families. Attendance letters go out at different times, and not every family or student is motivated by an attendance letter, but if you're getting a phone call and a letter and perhaps a visit, if that's necessary, that does help a little bit. There's a lot of support with our support staff talking with families about perhaps barriers to getting students to school. So there's a lot in place that I was pretty impressed with so far, and I'm sure with the principal's guidance and support, if we need to add things or revise what we do, they would let me know that, but I was really happy to see all that we do currently.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I know attendance across the country is an issue. And I think one of the things going into this conversation, I think I speak for myself as a board member, like if there were like particular initiatives that the leadership team thought that would be interesting to try or support that they need. I think that's important. If you look closely at those reports, there are understandably some more vulnerable groups that have challenges with being to school on a regular basis, and yet those are the students who might really benefit the most. And I have no doubt that our principals are doing a lot to try and get those students, not just the principals, but all the support staff. So I just don't know, like, if there's ever a time for us to try, something different, or if there's something that the leadership team needs from the board about that.
I don't know if we have anything right now to
No,
offer,
yeah,
but we
no,
certainly
yeah.
can talk through it as a team. And
Actually, so the last couple of times we've worked on the attendance policy, I don't remember the extent to which, I think the superintendent probably took it to the leadership team to sort of talk about what was going on, but that might be a time to think about, are there some new and different things to do with that policy? All right, thank you for those. So next is approval of members of the district committees. May we have the recommended action, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, The Board of Education hereby approves the memberships for the following district committees for the 2025-2026 school year. Code of Conduct, Technology, and Wellness.
May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thanks, everybody, for working on those committees. And I think by policy, we approve the district-wide safety team membership separately. So may we have the recommended action for approving that team membership?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the individuals listed below as members of the district-wide safety team for the 2025-2026 school year.
May we have recommended action, please? Sorry, may we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I'm feeling a little tired. I apologize. I'm exhausted.
It's been 2 hours.
And I don't have my reading glasses on, so I feel like I'm in a fog. Okay. So next is the approval of an intermunicipal, oh, thank you so much, agreement between, that's
Helps.
accepted, yeah. Between the Haldane Central School District and the Village of Cold Spring for village residents' use of Route 90 parking lot during weather emergencies. May we have the recommended action, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby approves the intermunicipal agreement between the Haldane Central School District and the Village of Cold Spring for village resident use of the district's Route 9D parking lot during village declared weather emergencies, and authorizes the superintendent to sign the agreement on behalf of the district.
May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
For people who haven't followed this, do you want to just give a little bit of an update about this?
Sure. So this is my understanding a very long time coming. And so it's something that I think I would say would have been kind of a layover from last school year. So I'm happy that it's still September and we're finally seeing it. But it kind of, for lack of a better description, it kind of formalizes what we're hoping to do and what we're currently doing. And as exciting to put some signage up. So we know there's a lot of signs in Haldane, a lot of signs on district site, but really reminding those who go to the parking lot when it can be used and when it shouldn't be used. But I will also defer to Megan and Julia because I know the two of you have had maybe some more conversations in the past regarding this. If you want to add anything to
No, I
capture it, okay?
think that's accurate. I think there's been a long-standing unwritten relationship with the village that lot is used by village residents when they cannot park on the street during snowstorms. But we have so many community groups who use those lower fields in addition to our own teams. And I think we've heard some feedback that some parents attending those events have had challenges in parking there. So we'd also like to be able to put up signage to indicate that it is a district lot,
That's great.
and that's the priority for the lot.
Right. I think that's great. And then we all realize that, you know, parking is really an issue. And without being able to have those signs there, there's really, not that there's necessarily a lot of recourse, but at least there's information. So appreciate you doing this. Yeah. Anything anybody else wants to say? That exciting. It is exciting. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Second opportunity for communication from the public.
Yeah, I don't know if I need to sign in, but I just, as it relates to the parking down there, I think it's important to recognize that, and the signage needs to be specific. Because I also think what's happening is on the weekends, we have home games, whether it's soccer games or home football games. And that's parking that on a big football game day, there's no parking, and it's people that aren't even community members coming to the game that are parking and then walking down 9 to Sandy Beach or to hike or to do whatever. And our people are parking all over the grass and places that are not safe. And so I just hope that those signs are specific to school and town, you know,
Yeah, I
feel.
think we need to be
We have to be
specific.
very careful on how we
I think we need to be specific that it's every day of the week too. It's not just Monday through Friday, that it's a district
Yeah,
lot.
yes,
There
yeah.
are games and community approved or district approved community use of those fields that
Right.
takes priority.
Right.
Thank you.
So any board reflections?
Just say a brief, well done to the Haldane representatives on the Putnam Youth Bureau for putting together a really beautiful 9/11 ceremony. It was completely organized and led by students, and it was just really very moving. You probably saw in the Highlands Current, Pat Shields, junior here, spoke about, he wrote an essay about his personal take on 9/11, and he wrote about his dad's experience. And it really, I think, brought it home for his generation, because you think about it, like when we were in school, it was sort of like people reflecting on the Vietnam War, it's like, this is a thing that happened before they were born. And I feel like him, like really speaking very emotionally about his connection to it, kind of brought it home for the students. So it was just really, really well done, very moving.
Looking forward to homecoming. We'll have had homecoming by the time the board meets again. That's really exciting. Exciting weeks. Dr. Duffy?
I, again, just want to thank my amazing administrative team. I know it's almost 9, so I'd like you to scoot so you can get home, get some beauty sleep. But thank you all for your hard work on all things capital project and STEAM.
Yeah.
All right,
Great
so
presentation.
I move to adjourn the meeting. May I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.